I think I almost got sold into slavery tonight. Forgive me if this ends sounding like the rantings of a crazy person, I think I'm still high. I matched with this girl on Tinder on who's 21 yesterday and I agreed to hang out with her. I'm not a lesbian and she was being a little sexual but I was deflecting it. We agreed to hang out at her place with her man and smoke/drink. Yesterday she was so insistent on getting me to her place, but I didn't feel like going. I blew her off with excuses. Today I was bored and free so I agreed to meet her. She came and got me at around 8 today. She was like rushing me and being sassy, but I let that slide. She drove like a crazy person. Looking at her phone the whole time. She buys wine coolers for me specifically and say you better drink them all, you better finish them. It was reasonable at time cause their tea is alcoholic as regular alcohol and they might be expensive and she's buying them for someone who's underage. She kept asking me sexual questions during the drive. She lived in one of those apartment houses and she went through back. She was fiddling with the door until she had to kaye her man down to open it for her. She went up first, I went up second and he was last. I felt like it was so he could catch me if I decided to try to leave. I wasn't even feeling bad about the situation. We go into their room and watch TV and they both offered me weed. I said no and she went to shower and I was left with her boyfriend. He started asking me same questions she asked and they both kept saying I was fresh, a baby, and new. I started drinking the wine cooler she bought me and I felt pressured to finish it. I had a 1.5 drink. I finished one bottle and went halfway through the other. He offered me X but I pretended I didn't know what it was and he let it go. I forgot how we got on that conversation but I told him I've never fucked a black guy and he was going on about how great it was. Then he showed me a video of his girlfriend going down on him and we were joking around about how I wasn't gonna do it and he was like yes you will. When she came out bathroom they offered a blunt again. Every time I took a hit they tell me to take another. I think I took like 5 and then I told them I was done. After a while Corey got up and told me to scoot in the middle. They asked how I was feeling. I was fine at the time so they asked me to do some more. Then they started touching me, talking about my thighs and squeezing them and complimenting me, and for some reason the girl got up and was about to walk out of the room. She handed me a drink and she was like really quick and forceful about it. I took another sip and then the reality of the situation hit me and it felt like I was in a bad BET movie. I swear I saw the lighting change. It went from fluorescent to orangey and dark. My heart started beating fast and I was scared. I was thinking the man put something in my drink when he got up. I remember seeing him bend over but I wasn't really paying attention. I was afraid of what that'd mean. Like I've read before that human traffickers keep the women they have drugged so they won't try to run. I was so scared I was tempted to just call 911 secretly, but I was afraid of them hearing my phone dialing and be violent with me. I slid off the bed and she came in the room and I was begging her to let me go. I was freaking out. They were both asking me what's wrong and I was telling them to take me home. I got my shoes and she led me to the door. I was scared when she opened it cause it looked different than before. It looked like a box and I was afraid that that's where they kept the girls. I didn't want to go out. She pushed me out and I ran down the stairs trying not to trip. I was so worried the door outside wouldn't open and she'd whack me in the head. It opened when I opened it and I got some fresh air. She was blocking the way a little bit. I felt better and she was talking to me, asking me what's wrong and telling me not to leave. We went back upstairs when I was feeling better and started airing the room out. I stayed outside in the hall and held their cat for a while until I finally convinced her to take me home. She was looking for her keys and I felt like that guy in Get Put when his GF was putting on a show of looking for her keys. I was so scared I made my way to the door. It was locked. I turned the lock thingy the other way and it was still locked. I was 80% certain they locked me in. There was another door and I tried that thinking it was the one to outside, but there was another half-naked girl there. I freaked out, but the girl opened the door for me and let me out again. We went to her car and when I got in there I realized it wasn't the same car, it was a van. I was freaking out over that too and she was like, we have 3 cars. She was driving around the neighborhood and I felt like she was gonna take me somewhere else like a warehouse or something. I got scared at every stop. I felt like some other people she was working with were gonna come in and take me. I put on my GPS just in case she was taking me a different direction instead of home. She was asking me if I'd still fuck her boyfriend, saying I should at least go down on him, and I lied and said yes. She was asking if we'll hang out tomorrow and insisting we go back to her place. I said we could but I wasn't going back there and she was grilling me. The whole time I was with them they were talking about a job. She said she owned her own business but they're in their early 20s so I was skeptical. Then he said he was the manager and that I could definitely fill the job, saying I was qualified even though I'm not. She said she earned $4,000 a week and he makes $7,000. I was thinking only pimps would make that kind of money. They were asking for my ID and social. She said I wouldn't be working this area. It was all very sketchy. She said I should come to their office and sign some things tomorrow and I was like yes and got out of the car. I don't really understand the business they run. It's like they help people with their electricity bill and go door to door, but I don't see how you could make that much money for that. The whole time I was just worried about passing out because I was dizzy and a few times I thought my eyesight was getting blurry. I got out of her car and called my friend and he said it sounded sketchy too. I don't know if I just had a horrible trip or if I met some sex traffickers. I still shaking and I'm afraid to go inside because I think I smell like weed and I'm pretty I'm still height. I'm on real thin ice with my family and I can't go home like this. I jumped at the sound of a raindrop and I thought someone was running really fast towards me, but there was no one there. I could just be tripping, but kinky Tinder lady, let's never meet again, I don't need money that bad. Update, she texted me this morning and I let my friend talk to her as me. She was being creepy as hell. http://imgur.com/a/w10gu27